recording. All right. So today we are going to be talking about sales, selling and consults. It's under 4 in the Six Figure Systems classroom. Just like last week, I'm going to teach, we'll make copies and coach. So today, this is one of the things that you might have experienced doing sales calls in a certain way. Feel free to continue what's working, but I would love to share with you why my philosophies on why I shifted my consultation process to really refocus on my business. Yeah, oh, of course. That's a good point, Nadia. I will include that in the classroom. So today we're going to talk about how to build belief for your clients. There's something called a belief triad. It is something that is trademarked by Stacey Bayman, but it is also something that is really helpful for you to think about your sales. And then we're also going to talk about creating that alleged funnel. So many people discuss funnels. There is a very simple funnel that you are going to create, and we're going to talk about that today. Then we're going to get into having a really clean and clear purchase process. We want to make it very easy for people to work with you, and how to have creative places for more ways for you to have links for your business and things like that. My stance has changed on this slightly, so make sure I'll get into that later. And then also we're going to talk about the sales process. So within your beliefs, we know that our thoughts create our results after that first session. So if you want to create results of people working with you, you want to create a strong belief in yourself. You want to, in yourself, which is number one. You also want to create a strong belief in your customer that they're willing and excited, not only just willing, but they're like really excited, out there and thrilled to work with you. And then we also want to think about, and I have best for your offer, because we want to think about how this offer is really created intentionally for you to scale. So when we are talking about like the marketing last week, we talked about the cold, the warm, and the hot leads. So if you, just a little reminder about that, cold leads are people that do not know you at all. And they've just maybe found your page. They saw a post that you did on some sort of social media, and they just found you, and those are just new people. Then we want to take those people in your sales funnel to warm. We want to get them into a nurturing sort of, not necessarily sequence, but we want to build and nurture those people who are joining you and following you. And we want to build a little bit of intrigue about, ooh, what would it be like to become a client? And so that is when we have really valuable posts that provide that how to, or something that's like a little tip, a small win for them to build into their days. Or this is a great place for webinars. The next piece is the hot leads. This is where we want to take people, and there are so many people that I'm sure are just waiting to work with you, and they just need something to tip them over the edge. We want to just be like, hey, it is safe to purchase with me. You will get value from this. And we want to compel people to take action. So these are people who are actively looking at testimonials. They're debating at paying. And that is what we call the sales funnel. Kind of like talked about it last week, but just kind of so you see it. And just so you know, we want to have there are lots of people in the cold space. Let's say there's like 100. And then there's going to be like maybe like 25 warm, and then or maybe 50 warm, and then 10 hot. So you can think about like, there's going to be less people as you go in. Not one person is more valuable than the other. Of course, if they're paying you, that is great. We want to definitely make sure we are paying a lot of attention to them and delivering for them. But just so you know, that's kind of what it looks like. Now, when we are creating easy ways for people to book and work with us, we want to have a booking process. I would highly recommend creating a Calendly or Acuity. Some websites have it integrated depending, but you want to have some way for people to book an appointment with you online. These two, Calendly and Acuity and websites, I know can integrate with your Google Calendar. We're going to talk about planning. That's week 6, but whenever, or week 7 technically. And when you are creating your calendar on your Google Calendar, we are going to make sure that those times are integrated. Another great reason why we use Google for like this whole program. So this is an old Linktree version of mine, but with having your links easily accessible, you want to have these links readily available. Now, the reason why I said my stance has shifted slightly on Linktree is when we are thinking about, you do not have to have a website to build a business at all. No one has to have a website. Make myself loud and clear. You do not have to go stop everything that you're doing. We want to focus on bringing people in. So please don't just like pause and make a website. However, if you do have a website, one of the things that was recommended to me is that a lot of times you can have something that looks like this on your website. The reason why you would do that is so you can get more what's called search engine optimization, more people clicking directly on your website versus clicking into Linktree. The clicks, which is a way that you can measure people who are coming to your website, if they click into Linktree, they're not actually clicking into your website. So those, unless you do have a link that links to your website or something like that. So we want to get as many clicks going directly towards your account versus to a random Linktree or whatever other platform as well. Yeah, right. I was like, someone told me that who has a podcast, or she's a publicist, and she gave me that feedback. She was like, get rid of the Linktree. Now, my issue is all of my business cards have a QR code linked to my Linktree, and I don't know where that QR code came from, which is fine. We'll talk about that in a second. But in any event, on the Linktree or website, you want to have the name of your program. You want to have your Calendly, any like social media, and any promotions that you're doing. So this is back when I did 2,500 and 25-day challenge. Remember, we want to keep as few links on here as possible. I think right now I got the feedback from my business coach that I had like 6 links and I kind of just forgot. It was just kind of things that piled up. Like I had different things on there. So you just want to make sure you want to clean it up, get them to a consult. Now, the beauty of, yes, perfect. So within the QR code, this is what I was mentioning before about my business cards, is you want to make it super easy. If someone gets to know you and they're like, hey, this is a cool person, feel like they could help me, we want to make it really easy for them to opt in and work with you. So this is where you can include a QR code. That is something that's really easily scannable. And you want to make sure that you're putting it on any packaging. I said, but that's where I put like business cards, and or you want to put this in presentations. We'll be talking about presentations again on week 6 technically, but if you literally like just use your phone, you guys all know how, hopefully, how QR codes work, but you can scan it and it goes, again, this is the QR code that goes to my Linktree. So you can see my 4 links here. If you scan it, I have how to build a business at work. So it was a masterclass I did last night, consult, media feature, and grow in the 6-figure systems Facebook group. Another thing, like I mentioned before, business cards also are optional, totally optional. But if you are going to networking events in person, this can be a great place to put your QR code so people can just book a call with you as soon as they see your business card, or it just makes it easier. Like I've gone to networking events and I've gotten like hundreds of business cards, and I actually have them right here from when I went to an event. They're still sitting in here because it's just a lot to go and actually this is a thought that I'm having, but I'm like, oh my gosh, I'll get to it. It'll happen sometime. And then we just want to make it easier for the people who are going through all these business cards. So with a sales call, we're going to talk about the separate folders to make, and we're going to make 3 different subfolders within the sales folder. And I'll talk you through that in just a second. but you can call it a consult call. You can call it a sales call. You can call it a discovery call. However, those of you that are coaches, I would highly recommend not calling this a free coaching call. You can, again, have autonomy to do whatever you would like to do in your business. But when people come to a free coaching call, there are two reasons why I recommend not doing this. The first reason is the people who are looking for quick, free things are not necessarily great candidates for paying customers. The people that are curious, we want to have conversations about, but we don't want to kind of lure them in and be like, you would be a perfect client. It just doesn't seem, it's not transparent. And I've like been on calls where someone was like, oh, let's do a free coaching call. And it was a consult. And I felt like as on the receiving end of a situation like that, it felt really uncomfortable. I wasn't ready to buy. I didn't know this person. It was just something that they like had offered. They were like, oh, I'm just testing out this new program. Would love to see what you think. And they were like, so tell me why you need this program. And I'm like, I don't, what? I was like, I thought you were just testing it out. And it was almost like a favor feeling. And it was like, it was just uncomfortable on the receiving side of it. The other thing is you want people who are coming onto a call prepared to buy something. If you are leading them onto a free coaching call and you're just kind of like, hey, it's like, want to meet? They are not ready to work with you. They do not have their credit card ready. They're not ready to make a decision. They just want to get coached. They just want to get help. So please, I would recommend, again, free to do whatever you want, but just you want to set expectations ahead of time as a business owner that really cares about their people. And I know that you guys aren't doing this because you don't care if you are, but I've found that like, we want to be transparent with our people. Now, with a sales call at the bottom, at the beginning of your business, I would recommend taking 2 to 3 full hours for a consult call. And here is why. There is prep work that we're going to talk about doing before. There is and I would, again, totally up to you, but I would recommend a full hour for the call, especially at the beginning. I still do an hour for my calls because you're not necessarily great at sales and you want to give yourself more time as you are just inexperienced, And then I like to give myself time after to evaluate. These are all things that you are going to be sharing in the classroom, not all these things, but I would love to see your evaluation. I would love to see what kind of things are happening on your consults so we can problem solve and move forward and just like do a quick eval. I can give my feedback and we can move forward. And that is a very important piece of this. Now, this is something that I found was really helpful. I edited it a bit. This is something that I got from, I thought it was 2K, but I was looking on Stacey's website and I couldn't find it. And I'm actually doing a webinar with her called Higher Converting Consults. And I'm like, this is my number one thing that I would recommend for people to do. And I don't know where it is. So I thought I got it from Stacey. It might've been from another coach. I didn't want to like tell you I made this up myself. I wanted to give credit where it's due. Oh, there we go. It's in the book. That's why. Okay, excellent. So I'm going to say that tomorrow. So within that, on the consult, you want to get prepared. Your thoughts create your results, people. So if your mind isn't clear, what's going to happen? And your thoughts, feelings, and actions, all those things create your results. But you want to make sure you're cleaning up any mental drama you have to really go in and just support this human being. The mental drama comes up in a lot of these categories. Confidence in yourself, whether you feel like and think about like 1 is like not confident, 10 is super confident. What are all the thoughts? This is like a thought download. And then it's almost like you can even do an unintentional model and then swap it right into an intentional model. That is kind of like the work that you'll be doing on this pre-consult worksheet. The other thing is, so this is belief in you. This is belief in them. And then it says the capacity for humans should change no matter what circumstance. I like to think about this as my product. This is where I'm like, if for humans to change no matter what circumstance within my container. That's like another like way I like to use it. And it just helps you clean up that belief triad: belief in you, them, your business. Then you're going to build a ton of belief. You're going to get in there and you're going to think about all of the times that you've made a positive difference in somebody's life, a client, something just to be like, oh my gosh, what I do works. It really helps people. It could be past experiences in another job. It doesn't have to be like specifically within your business, but it just needs to be something to be like, oh, I get results. People get results. People can overcome things that they're experiencing. And then also going into wins from current clients, thinking about all of their breakthroughs and changes. This is something that's so fun because I've worked with so many people. It's like 70 now. Like I have a lot of people that I've worked with. They're just so cool. Like in 3 years, what a neat time. But when you're thinking about that, it's like, oh my gosh, look at how far they've come. And it's been cool to see, really reflecting on the clients that I had at the very beginning of my business. I've actually been following them. And a lot of the things that we talked about 3 years ago, they're doing today. And I'm like, wow, that is just, it's just like, it's just so neat. And so these things are just going to be even more fun as your business grows. And then thinking about yourself as a human, you have all changed and grown so much. So you want to make sure you feel how strong you've changed your life. And then you want to think about what you would need to do to release your own attachment. This is very difficult to do, especially at the beginning of your business. But a lot of us get attached when we think about money. We think about, oh my gosh, this person could mean another sale for me. This is like however much, $2,000 is riding on this. If I don't make this, X, Y, and Z will happen. This is a huge piece where we just want to release all of that detach. We want to detach our attachment to this human and just show up and serve. And what one of my favorite emotions to feel is it's two words: detached commitment. We want to be committed. We want to see that vision for them. We want to be like, oh my gosh, for my instance, I can just see how much our business could grow. I see so much opportunity for you. And I'm not attached for you to make my business work. We always want to come back to that sufficiency and being like, if this consult doesn't work out, there are hundreds more people. There are so many other fish in the sea, but I'm going to show up and do my best to serve them in any capacity I can. And then, so this is another one that I added. I'm like, how do you want to leave this person feeling? So for instance, if someone isn't a client for your business, and I just had this happen, now that my business has gotten bigger because of that SEO optimization, I think a lot of people are Googling me and they're finding me. And so it's a lot more of the cold leads. So for instance, I had this lovely human who is a funeral home director, and she wants to start a subscription box for widows. And I was like, love this mission for you. Think it's awesome. Do not think that Six Figure Systems is a good fit for you. And when we're thinking about that, even though she didn't become a client, I was like, I wanted to leave her feeling like so empowered. I'm like, this is a great idea. Even if I'm not the right person for you, I know there are other coaches. Here's a database. And I sent her that, and I sent her on her way. So when you're thinking about that, like, I want everyone that's leaving a consult with me to feel, even if they decide that it's not a good fit for them right now, still want them to feel awesome about the consult experience in and of itself. Because I've left some consults, and I've done this too, where I felt kind of funky afterwards. And I was like, man, that wasn't what I expected. Or I've been the deliverer of that, where I'm like, that was not the way I wanted to end it. It happens, but we want to do our best to mitigate that kind of like funky feeling, because sales has a lot of emotionally charged things for some humans. So with the sales call, you guys all did a sales call with me in order to do this round. So in every round, so thus far. And so within that, just like what we did before, we want to figure out where they are now. We want to figure out where they want to go, and what would it look like for them to be a 10. Remember how we created those intangibles, those beautiful intangibles with your pillars? We want to make sure that we know what are their parameters. So like, what would it actually look like for your confidence to be at a 10? We want to understand what's holding them back for their confidence now. We also want to have your process to get them from point A to point B. And I'm going to talk to you about how to individualize and customize that for each consult that you're doing. And then we want to figure out their why. We want to really paint a vision for them, be like, I want to talk to you about like how different this would be if you have the financial freedom, if you have time freedom, like what are the kind of things they want from this? And then the big thing that we want to do is we want to get them to make a decision on the call. We want them to decide if they want to work with you. Great, let's get going. If not, that's totally fine too. We're just going to say you're a no for now and we're moving forward. Or there's also the option for a follow-up. So coming back to your lovely core pillars, we want to think about the topic and the process are the two big pieces that you're going to be utilizing on a consult. What we did in our creation of the pillars is we tried to create like our best guess of what their problem would be and our best guess of what the solution would be. But we want to kind of think about that is going to be individualized for each person. So let's say that you get on a consult with somebody and you can say, okay, where are you at now on a scale of 1 to 10 with burnout? 1 is the worst, 10 is the best. And they'll think about in their head and they'll be like, oh, okay, I'm a 2. And then you ask, why are you a 2? Or you can ask them, what's holding you back from a 10? I usually go, that's totally normal. I was like, no worries. That's why people come to work with me. I want to know what makes it a 2 for you. We want to get to know what their individual answers are because it's going to be a little different for every client, even though you've got the same pillars for each person. The next thing is so they're like, oh my gosh, I'm just constantly stressed. And you're like, okay, I totally get that. Where do you want to be X time, 6 months from now? And they want to be like, I just want to be feeling a little bit better. I just want to be feeling just slightly better within my life and within my career and my business, whatever. And you say, I totally understand that. What I'm going to do, and again, I switched my pillars up so you can see the old way it used to be, but it's like when I am teaching you about burnout, I'm going to show you how to reprogram your subconscious using what's called intentional and unintentional models. And from there, I'm going to help you solve the root cause of burnout so that you actually feel less stressed and you can solve for stress. So you can actually start to enjoy your job, if you can even believe that's possible. They'll be like, oh, that sounds great. Interesting. And then, so then it will go on. Tell me about time management. Okay, I'm a 4. And so we'll go with each of these categories. We will rank them. And the reason why it's important, even if you decide that you don't want to do a weekly tracker, it's great to get those baseline numbers for them if they decide to work with you. B, it's really helpful for you to prioritize which piece of your program are you going to customize for this person. So it's like if there's a 2, 4, 1, 3, we're going to shift it. So instead of telling them originally, if you were to look at your pillars in your plan, mine should have been the unintentional model. That was number 1 for me. But I copy and paste the process based on their area of need. And I say, okay, for you, because work-life balance was a 1. And that seems like that's something you're really struggling. The first thing that we're going to do if you decide that we want to work together is set work boundaries. I'm going to teach you how to enjoy your life outside of your work because you're coming to here for a fulfilling career and life, not just career. Then I'll go to the next lowest number. Okay, you want to feel less burnt out. That's the next thing. So we're going to focus on that programming subconscious protocol. That will be 2. Then we're going to have the long-term plan. That's where I teach you the wheel of life. Then time management, Monday hour 1. So you go through that process. And it's the reason why I think this is really powerful is first off, I had I just recently had a consult with someone who I really wanted to work with, and there was like no flow. And I was like, oh my God. I was like, okay, so what kind of things can you do for me? And I was looking at them as a potential VA. And she was like, anything. I can get your birthday costumes for your kids. I'm like, what? I was like, I'm so confused. I was like, what can you do for me? I was like, I don't understand. And I know that if you are just like very new to consults, which I think the majority of you have done a consult or two, but it was just such a weird experience. And I've always kind of started with a where are you now, where are you going to go kind of model. So I wanted to share with you, if you haven't done it like that, it was just a very confusing experience for the consumer. And then the other piece is like, if you have the where are they now, where do they want to go? And you're trying to customize it every single time, especially if you are a generalist, people are going to give you everything. They're going to be like, let me tell you about my friend's divorce. That's really stressing me out because she's my roommate. And then also I have my issues with my cat. And let me tell you about my boss who's a jerk. And it's like, it just can go everywhere. The reason why I think that my conversion rate changed so much when I implemented this, when I was specifically talking about this, I went from 40 to 72% closing on consults. So that's a really big percentage. And I knew that like one of the hardest pieces for me was that I knew I could help somebody. And if they were talking about their divorced roommate and their cat and their boss, I was trying to plug in how I could help them. And it was so like, it was different every single time. And when you are trying to now grow and scale to a multiple six-figure business, you need to have a very set process that you're doing every single time. It's very easy for you to do because the more that you do this, guess what's going to happen? The more clients you're going to have, the less time you'll have in your calendar, and you're going to need to do these consults a little bit faster. And it just helps for you to have a very set process. Yes, these are the only things I have them rank on a consult is where they're at for each specific pillar. There are people who have you rank their committedness on a scale of 1 to 10. Like, how committed are you to this change? I don't do that, but you can if you want. For me, it just felt like weird. But if it feels good to you, do it. And also, if you have a process that works already, feel free to drip this in, but you don't need to do it all at once. Yes. So what I do is then, sorry, I kind of like jumped off on a tangent there, but I go through and I explain the plan, and I go through and I'm like, so here's the thing. I'm like, I set each piece of it and then I prioritize it. I'm like, I just want you, when you are coming to me looking for a career coach, I know this is back in the day. I want you to feel like you can actually enjoy your life outside of work. It's called the Career Fulfillment Initiative because I want you to have a fulfilling overall life. And I want the career to be a big piece of that. But I also want to help you set boundaries. It's okay to say no. There are ways that you can do it in a way that feels good and genuine and can help you with these people-pleasing tendencies that we've talked about. So that's what I want to do for you first. And that's what will take maybe the first 2 to 3 weeks to do. Then I want to take you through, and I really want to show you how you can subconsciously control the level of stress you're under. We can't change those circumstances, but I want to focus in on what you can do to really focus in and create this level of control that you have been seeking outside of yourself within yourself. So that's what we're going to do next is we're going to take, and that is something that I still do to this day. It's really the basis for my coaching. And it's something that really helps you to stay regulated and in emotional maturity and control of your life. And the next thing I want to do is I want to teach you how to really create the life you've wanted, because that life that you're talking to about, like, if you don't know what your future looks like, how can you prep for it now? So what we're going to do is we're going to really create a foggy future vision. We're going to figure out, okay, what pieces of my life do I want to have? And then I want to help you live into that life you've always wanted and created. And last but not least, I want to get you organized. It's like, I totally understand the overwhelm of stress tasks at work. Believe me, I taught in a pandemic, but I want to help you feel organized, even if crazy things happen at work. And that happens when I teach you Monday Hour One and calendaring. It's a specific system I teach. So I want to see, it's like, based on what you've told me, I really feel like we would be a good fit. Do you have any questions about like how I would help you with burnout or time management, work-life balance, or your long-term plan? And they'll say, that sounds good, but that they were like, they might have questions like, what does that look like? It's like, okay, just kind of like talk them through and be like, all right, so it's like, I'm just trying to think of it. It's like on the top of my head. I'm like, they're like, oh, okay, it's like, do you feel like with burnout, it's like, I really never want to be burnt out again. I'll be like, and so like that's one of the reasons why I'm trying to work with you. And I'm like, that is great. And we want to aspire for that. However, we're humans. Life happens, and you might get feeling burnt out or stressed again, but I want to help you know how to be proactively mitigating that stress and know how to recover from that stress. Like that could be a question that somebody might have. Um, then you clarify the you could also say like over the next 6 months, you're going to be like talking about your program as you go. So it's like each week when we meet over the next 6 months, these are kind of things that are going to happen. And so they're just going to be like, they'll know that the timeline, they'll know the duration, they'll know how the frequency that you guys are going to be meeting. They will hear about that as you explain the pieces. And you say, great, do you have any questions? Usually what will come up is like, I really feel like this is a good fit for me. How much does it cost? And then you say, my program is $5,000 for 6 months. How do you want to go forward with that? And you wait. This is the worst part. You want to be clear, you want to be transparent, and you want to talk a lot as soon as you say that price. I would recommend not doing that because we don't want to make assumptions about, we won't want to be in their pocketbook. Again, we are detached, we are clean. We want to just see why this decision would be good for them. And we also want to, like a lot of times we might make an assumption, like, I know it's a lot of money, but like, let me talk you through it. Not a helpful thought for them. Remember, their thoughts create the results. So if they're thinking, oh, it is a lot of money for me, I'm panicking. I have had more people pay in full this year than any year ever. And I usually just would offer a fake payment plan. And recently I've just been like, here it is. This is how much it is for one-on-one. And you're like, okay, great. I'm like, cool. I'll take that. I'm like, but it's like one of those things that like for me, I just need to shut up and stay out people's pocketbooks. I want people to feel safe and comfortable. I know why I do the things I do. That's why I coach the heck out of myself before I do a consult. And so within that, if they're like, okay, this is great, you can ask them, this is something I used to use for decision making. Why and why not? It's like, why is this a good decision for you now? Why is it why not right now? What would be the kind of decisions you would want to make? Go through that with them. The other thing I like to do a lot of the time is in that pre-consult work, I really like to think about how this could be for them. So I actually like look into people. You can like just check into them a little bit if you want. I'll look at people's profiles and I'll kind of get a gauge for who they are, who they help, and things like that. I actually have a consult today and I'm like, okay, I like already in my head, I'm like, I see where you are right now. And for me, for them, I want to make sure I'm articulating why it would be good for them to start now for them. Again, for them, why it would be great for them. And I'm like, there are 2 months pretty much left in 2023. I would really like for you to finish this year strong. I really think it would be really important for you to start 2024 stronger. If your goal is to get 10 clients in 2 months and you've had two consults a month before this, I'm not going to give them unrealistic expectations, which sometimes hurts people's feelings. Like, but like somebody like, and I just want to be realistic. I never want to be dishonest with people. If they're like, I want to hit 100K in 2 months and I have only made like 80K this year and I want to hit 200K by the end of the year, I'm like, I really love the ambition. And I really would, for you, I think that my goal is to clean this up, get your back end ready so that then you're able to scale even bigger next year versus just trying to go hard at the end of 2023. That's my professional opinion. And I'm going to help you do everything I can in your power, but I want to set realistic expectations. I've had people say that did not feel great to them, and it didn't feel great to me because I never want to crush people's dreams. But I also, my job is to help build them up for their dreams instead of blowing smoke up their butt, essentially. So we want to get a decision on that call. We want to have them decide, and then we want to be like, great, I'm so excited. And you're going to create a list for your availability. You want to have a list already. For those of you that are working with clients weekly, you want to have a list of all of your time slots. Now, I made the decision last Thursday that I'm opening up a lot of time slots, which is fun. I'm like, this is going to be great. I'm excited to like do more one-on-one coaching. And I think it's just, I'm ready now that my systems are like all aligned, but I just redid this and I'll show you what it looks like for me. And so you want to, on the call, if they are a yes, you tell them, I'm going to reserve this spot for you and I cannot wait to start next week. Or even if it's in the week of, I'm like, let's start next week. Or let's start do you have time tomorrow? It's like, let's meet up. I was like, we can create a consistent time. We can create a different time. But I like to get them like, let's go. Let's get excited. Like, I know it feels nerve-wracking, but like, this is going to be great. Then if they're like, okay, this sounds great, but I would like to, there might be some other decision makers involved. I would love to talk with my husband. I'm like, that's totally fine. Do you have any idea of what questions they might have so I can answer it ahead of time? I'll send you, I like to send them notes. I like to show the notes. You guys know how I am. You do not need to do that, but I think it creates like, they can see it better. I'm like, what questions is like, is there anything in here that might be unclear? And do that within 48 hours, just so it cleans it up for you. If they're a yes, great. If they're a no, that's totally fine. A no for now is the way I like to think about it. And based on that, you will have different emails. So, and they might be like, hey, you are awesome. The other option is they might be like, hey, this is awesome. I love you so much, but this isn't the right time for me right now. And you're like, that's totally fine. We never want to make people feel bad for saying no, ever. We want to make them feel safe and comfortable. And what I like to do is I like to say, hey, we're going to be friends no matter what. I was like, I'm going to love and support you. This is for my flavor. Not everyone's like this, but I'm like, I'm going to love and support you no matter what. But I would love to get this decision made so we can move forward and just figure that out. And if they're like, I love you, Megs, and it's a no. And I'm like, that's okay. No worries. I'm still going to support you. We have time in a Facebook group. It's going to be great. Yes. Yep. Exactly. And I feel like that is one of the things is like having those notes to look back on is we just want to build trust because the spouse, they don't know you. A lot of times there are financial decisions that are made. This is actually the first round I've ever had any spousal conversations. I'm like, it never bothers me. I'm like, come on, bring them on. I was like, can't wait to get to know them. I was like, again, whether or not we do work together, it's going to be great. So the emails I actually included is a no for now email. Then there's a follow-up email. Then there's a payment email and then an onboarding email. The no for now email is for people who are no for now. Totally fine. We'll talk about what that looks like and other ways to support you. And what I like to say is I'm like, I'm going to be cheering you on no matter what, but I will be checking back in and seeing how you're doing. And I've done that with people before, and then they become clients later on, which is kind of cool. Then there's the follow-up email that's here. Thank you so much for taking time to meet with me. I had a contract, so I used to include that. Now I just say, here's a link for the follow-up call. And you can say it. So the optional pieces here are the contract or the email list. You don't have to add them to the email list already. Then super simple. Here's the payment. Have a good one. And I actually added a few more things to make it a little bit like, instead of just being like super transactional. And then Armini asked about the onboarding. And so I went through and gave you guys my onboarding process. So you guys are crushing it. Are there any questions about for the follow-up? This is where I end up doing like I kind of just keep it open, honestly. I find funny enough, I don't have that many follow-ups. I've had it with like 5 people and I've done like 107, which is a lot. And I think it's because I make it pretty, usually what happens is I'm like, please don't say no. And like in the back of my mind when I first started, and I just got like, yeah, of course. And then a ghost, which is totally normal at the beginning. Now it's more so like, hey, you can tell me, I want you to be honest with me. I want you to be transparent. Like, I'm going to support you no matter what, but do you feel like this is a good decision for you in your business right now? So, I usually have most people sign up, but then, I could do the reasons why and why not would be what you could do for the follow-up. Be like, I just want to check in. Have your reasons changed? Very good question. So let's go into the classroom. And like I mentioned previously, this is a slightly different week where you're going to make subfolders within the folder. So within your okay, so you're going to make a folder that's going to be number 4, selling. Going to be the first thing that you're going to do within your Google Drive. And then you're going to make 4 folders. You're going to have 1 pre-consult, 2 consult calls, 3 post-consult, and 4 evaluations. So I'm going to give you guys like a minute to do that. Yes, I met with you guys both. Yeah, sorry, I missed that. Okay, then going back into the classroom, there's a template for the pre-consult. You're going to make a copy of the pre-consult worksheet. And what I like to do is if I want something at the top of my Google, like what I'll do is I'll put an asterisk and that brings it to the top so that when you have a bunch of people who are booking consults with you, they have access to it. And then you're going to take that worksheet, you're going to move it to your folder, and you're going to put it in the pre-consult area. Then you're going to have to customize this consult call template at some point, but this is where you want to have your pillars here, your duration, your timeline, and I just call it a transformation guide. And again, if you want it to rise to the top, the reason why is for the pre-consult and consult call and evaluations, I typically put the date and the person's name for each thing. So, and I'll show you what that looks like in a second, but sometimes the template itself can get lost and you don't want that to get lost. And then you're going to take that, go to your folder, go to consult calls, and move it there. Then you're going to go to the post consult templates. And there are 4 things here that are the not now email. And I just made it 1, 2, 3, 4 again, so it can stay in order. And I actually changed the not now emails to says, thank you so much. Here's the link to the call. Thank you so much for meeting with me, and I'll hopefully see you soon. Then you're going to put that in the post consult email or the post consult folder. I'm just going to delete these. It's from last round. Then we're going to do the follow-up email. I changed it a smidge from the PowerPoint. So it says, hey, thank you so much for meeting with me. Here's a link to our follow-up call. And again, you want to get that time and date for the call on the call. You're going to put that in post consult as well. Then you're going to go to the payment email. made it a smidge more flowery. Here's the link for the payment. You need to actually put your payment link in there. So smidge of customization outside of this. Pay in full. Same payment link. If you just want to do pay in full, you can as well. You just need to make sure you include that. And then that's going to go in the post consult as well. And then I have made an onboarding email. These are things that you do not need to do. You could literally just be like, here's the link for our call. So excited I blocked out our calls. However, I have, just like you guys do for your forums every week, what I do with my one-on-one clients is I talk about their 5 wins. I start every call with 5 wins. Then we evaluate their week. I actively coach them. I share a breakthrough with them in the session. I set goals, see growth. I give them a drive. There's a ton of stuff that I do. Yours might not be this lengthy. If you want to make it that lengthy, great. But I have in here in italics. Oh, no. I have in here in italics how I onboard clients. And I also have my contract example. The contract example, if you would like to do one, this is what is on my website. And if you guys would like to see an example of one, it is here and loading slowly. So it just says like, and you guys all click when it said click to agree to terms of service, it just sent you to this page in my website. The next, and I have to change this for 5K for the next round. The next thing that you're going to make a copy of, and I'm not going to go over everything I do for my clients because it's right here. And not all of you are coaches, so I don't want to do that for each one. But then the last thing that you're going to make a copy of, this is like the most amount of copies you'll probably make in this whole program. But you're going to have the consultation evaluation, which is where you're going to put in evaluations. And you're going to move that document there. Are there any questions?
I've got a question. So for my business, the goal of a sales call, let's say, is not actually going to be a payment or a payment plan. It's going to be signing a contract for management services. So I'm in property management, and my goal is to get them to sign that management agreement with me and agree to pay me a monthly fee that would come from the rent of the tenants. Um, so I guess my question here is, how would you reframe the consult process with the end goal being a contract, maybe on DocuSign, that, isn't as simple as putting in a card number? I kind of have to prep them for, read this and sign here, date here.
So
How would you alter that?
Yeah, on the call, do they have to go through and do the DocuSign with you, or do they do it after the call?
Typically, no. Typically, the call would be learning about the property, learning about their prior management company or lack thereof, just understanding where they're at now and what they want moving forward. And then, provide my value as a property manager, and then build enough trust for them to agree to work with me for, at a minimum, probably 12 months.
Okay. So that's where on the consult, what I would do for you is I would again go through your pillars, and then I would be like, I would discuss with them, be like, hey, so it's like, I want to talk to you about how this could be good for you for the next 12 months. And then just explain to them, because the next steps aren't going to be booking a call, making sure they're on for a certain time. You can tell them to be like, I get started with my clients it's like, I would love to get started with you on Monday. if you could have that contract to me signed by Monday, that would be great.
Mhm.
Given 5 to 7 business days potentially, does that sound like something
Okay.
be a reasonable, like, be like, I want this?
Yeah. Because it's definitely something they need to sit down and focus on to do, and likely they have to be on a computer. It's very hard to sign documents on a phone.
Yes.
Um, so I almost like giving it them a homework assignment, I guess, is kind
Yeah,
of how I'm thinking of it. Um,
exactly. But then give them a deadline. Don't just say like, let me know. Be like, and I
yeah.
would say that like I'll be checking back in with you. Like I'll check with back in with you in 48 hours. Let me know if you have any questions, and I'll hold your spot till the end of the week. And like give them
Okay.
some sort of like, it's like, all right, thank you so much for your time. And if they, for the follow up with them, be like, hey, it's like I wanted to check in.
Hmm.
And for that, and other coaches, I wouldn't recommend doing this necessarily, because at this time, you guys won't necessarily have like, I don't want you guys checking in with them and messaging them in between the end of the consult when they say yes and then the first call. However,
Hmm.
Morgan, because yours is a little bit less defined, I would do 2 check-ins. I would do one to be like, hey, it's like reminder Friday, it's due. And then if you say, hey, it's like I didn't get your payment email, I'm gonna like um I'm not going to hold your spot, but if you ever decide that you want to work with me, it's like I will absolutely be keeping you in mind, and let me know if you ever want to work together in the future. Like, and just
Okay.
if you want to decide within like a week that they're a no, just be like, they're a no. Cause it's like that unresolved decision making that feels like shit to everybody. It's like, and if they're a no, that's fine. It's like no big deal. There's plenty of people that
Mhm.
need property management, as you know. But I would say that like if they're a no, and um I guess this could go for anybody that gets with the ghosting, I wouldn't respond to them. I would still like check in with them and be like, hey, like good to talk to you. Um, where are the coaches? I'm like, I've never done this necessarily before, but I've been like, if I get ghosted, I would say like, hey, it's like, thank you so much for taking time to meet with me again. I'm gonna um I'm gonna say that we're not gonna work together. It's like if the payment's not in, it's like I won't hold your spot, but feel free if you ever change your mind, let me know. And we're just gonna like assume that their decision's made up. And I would do that after the call and be like, hey, I missed you on the call today. If they say a yes and they leave you, so be like, hey, I missed you on the call today. Um, let me know if you ever do. It's like no worries. It's like life happens, but let me know if you do want to start coaching, and I would love to work with you. And just like leave it at that and be like, okay, it's like thank you so much for your time again. It's like I'm always cheering you on. It's like I'll still be checking back in with you, but just be like there and now and move on. Instead of being like, oh, it's like do we just don't want to leave any unresolved decisions, because then it just like takes time and energy from both parties that isn't necessary. Um, any questions about consults? Oh, and what I wanted to add is timing. So when you are thinking about the timing, the overview piece that is at the beginning of the consult is we want to get an overview of who they are and like why they came. It's like, hey, thank you so much for jumping on the call today. I just want to get a brief overview of who you are, like what your goals are, and we're going to talk about these 5, 4, 6, whatever areas where you are now, where you want to go. And then I'm going to talk to you about the customized plan. You can even write your process here. I do. I think it's helpful just so I don't have to keep rewriting the CEO scheduling system like every single time. Um, so I would say that piece takes about like, you got to really keep track of your time, like 5 to 10 minutes. If they seem like they are talking a lot per pillar, I would say be like, just give me one sentence as to why you're there. It's like, 'cause we want to move with them. We want to be like, this should probably be done within 30 minutes. Your plan should take a solid 10 minutes. So we're looking at 45 minutes at this point, and we only 15 minutes for like 10 minutes, 5 to 10 minutes for decision making. And then we want to give them 5 to 10 minutes to talk about, okay, this is what it's going to look like. You're going to get this email. We're going to get started here. Do you have any questions about that? Does that breakdown seem good for everybody? It's like, I'll put that here. Timing, 5, overview, goals, 30, pillars, 10, plan, 5 to 10, decision, 5 to 10, whatever is the missing piece. Did I get that right? It's just gonna be 5 minutes. 5 minutes to decide, 5 minutes to, or yeah, it's 5 to 10, 5 to 10. To book calls / next steps. Awesome. Okay. Well, in this case, I know that we've been talking a lot about like coaching on what exactly is on the consult call and things, or exactly what is on the coaching call. But I would love to start going through some of your templates and like helping you with them. If you want me to customize your consult call template with you and talk you through that, like I would love to make these like, if you want them to be it as this group goes on, it's going to become like a little bit more like action oriented. We're going to be talking about like these templates and mindset oriented, just so you guys know. If you want to talk me through, let's say you do a consult. Oh, I also mentioned I would show you my availability. So this is what it looks like on mine. It's a little different, but for the availability, it looks like this. And I just have post consult. I have all the evals in here too. But I made a document of all these times because I'm taking on 5 more one-on-one clients. So I was like, here are all the times that I'm available. Here's the times that are starting. And this was the consult I had on Friday. And so now that time is not available anymore. So I just like clarify, I'm like, hey, starting in November, these are going to be times, these I could start with this week. So I don't have to be like looking at my calendar and being like, oh, hey, oh shit. Here are the times that I have. And I'll share this with you guys so you can view that. Make availability. However, if I wanted to discuss something that like happened on a consult and I wanted to be like, oh my gosh, this happened, like shit has hit the fan. This did not go well. This was not a good, this is like a funky consult, and like, I'll like go through and I would love to like start looking through these with you guys and be like, okay, what happened on this consult? Let's talk through it. Let's problem solve it. And you, in order to share that with me, you'll click share, and then anyone with the link can comment or view or whatever, copy that link and then put it in the chat. So that could be helpful. Okay, Mikkel, great question. You said, do you have a folder for each person at each phase of the sales process? Oh, I have my plan there ahead of time. Yes, Nadia. A folder for each person in the sales process. I did this at the beginning because I didn't think this through. What I would love for you guys to do is just start copying and pasting this and just putting this in an email. So just going like boom here, and then just like putting their links in here for them, or like just doing the payment email, just being like, hey friend, be like, hey Jimmy. I like to put their names here. You can do friend, but be like, here's the link, here's you go. What I didn't realize is at the beginning of my business, I actually made copies for every single person. I made an actual copy of the actual document and went through, and it was just like a very lengthy process. You do not need to do that. That's why I have so many names here, where it's like, now for my console calls, I cleaned that up like ages ago. But for my post consult, all these folders, totally unnecessary. But that's where I put all their evals and stuff. Now it's just all kind of a jumbled mess, but a beautiful mess. It's pretty much just the evals are going to be in there. And that's why it's just a separate folder for you guys. Great question. So who has some questions? It doesn't have to be about today. It could be about your marketing calendar, your 5-year plan, coaching in general, the way that you are. If you want me to help you with your weekly tracker or something like now, this is a great time for that. So let me know what you guys need. I've got you. Doesn't it seem less individual if you already have the plan for them? So what I do with my consults now is I have the process laid out, but so it's like, it's here, but then I'll move it around. So I'll be like, okay, for you, you need to do this, you need to do this next. That's what I meant by like, it's good to have the numbers there, Nadia. So each person, if for one-on-one, I change the numbers around. So I'll be like, wait, which is the first one? So I'll be like, okay, the powerful positioning plan, sales is the consult, the webinar formula would be next for presenting. Then I'll talk about delivery, client growth, and then engagement, manage leads. So this is like, these line up 1 through 6 for these things. Now for, if they're in group and I'm doing this, what I would do is be like, I really would love for you to convert more of your consults. And so I just bold it and be like, okay, it's like, these are the 3 pieces. Like all this is going to be really helpful for you. But if you already have done webinars and stuff like that, like, and you know how to schedule yourself and you've done a little bit of marketing, I really want you to focus on these things. And I feel like this is absolutely worth like 5K of value for you. It's like 5K to make 6 and multiple 6 figures. It's like, it's a good plan. And for, this goes for like the business coaches, but one of the things that I like to do is when I'm asking them the overview, this is where I figure out, are you one-on-one, are you group, how much is your price, how much is your timeline, all those kind of things are up here. And then in the back of my mind, I'm like, okay, for you to make your money back, just in this round, it would be like, okay, that'd be 2 clients. It's like, I think based on what you've told me, it's like, I really do think we could get you these people. So that's another way I like to think about it. Okay, so yes, separate doc for everyone in a consult and a separate document for every eval. Those are the only 2 things that separate, actually, so take it back. Separate document for each pre-consult work. Separate document for everyone who gets a consult call. And then a separate document for each eval. The evals are just mixed in with it. That, because it's kind of a mess. I'll clean it up later. Great questions. Yes, Nadia. Oh, and give me a win first to start off.
Oh God.
Right.
I hate that. Does it have to be about business? Could it just be a random win?
It could be a random win.
Okay, well, last night I just randomly decided to join a dance class. I just thought I saw someone post about it and I thought, I've never done that. I'm just gonna do it. And I went and did it and it was really fun. So yeah, that was really cool.
Amazing. Tell me about yourself.
Okay, so my question is, and I was messaged you about this as well. It's like, so I'm going through my pillars. Obviously, I'm using them to create content, but in my head, I'm like, one of my pillar, like it's not mindset, right? But it is like what I do is coach people on their brain, right? But I know we don't want to really be saying that. Like I kind of am torn in this kind of area of like, should I have a pillar on mindset or should I just weave mindset into each of the pillars? Does that make sense?
Yes. So for you, we've got marketing, sales, presenting. Wait, was this an example for me? I was like, do we have these? These are your pillars, right? Oh,
No.
this is not you. This is that was our sales. I was like, where are your pillars? I was like,
4
do
pillars.
pillars. Can you share
Second one in. Second one in. Or I can share mine.
this one? No,
No.
it's a different Nadia.
Right. How do I share mine? I need to figure out.
Okay, so if you, this is great for everybody. We're gonna start doing this. If you go to the document, if you pull it up, I don't know why I didn't have yours. You're gonna click share. Then you're gonna click general access. And you're gonna click anyone with the link. And then you're gonna click go down to editor. And I promise I won't make edits unless.
Right, hold on. I need to find it. What I think it'll be in the mine. I can't remember what that is. I'm sorry.
No, you're fine. Take your time,
Delivery,
buddy.
core offer, core pillars, program creation. Sorry, everyone. Hold on.
Gosh, you're fine. You're fine. Anyone else who has feedback that they want for their business, just so you know, that's very important. I would love to go through that with you.
Okay, so sorry, you said share.
Yeah, share in the top right. And then go to anyone with the general access underneath
Yeah,
that.
anyone with the link,
And then
editor. I think it was already that, and then copy link.
Yep, and then put that in the chat.
Okay. Sorry, guys.
No worries.
I think this is the one. I've not even really looked yet to make sure. Okay.
Like, I'm sure it's good. I said why I don't have that for you.
Okay.
But I have everybody else's. So everyone else, I have your pillars here. Made sure I had that.
I think that's it.
Yes, it is. The Coaching Business Accelerator. Well, just okay.
Okay.
Move this into my one-on-one for round 3. Okay. So within this, I with the overall direction, time management, marketing, and selling, what I would say overall direction would be mindfulness.
Not mindfulness. Like
Not
I wouldn't say it like
mindset, like coaching. It's
yeah.
like they're confused about their now. When I hear overall direction, here's why I think about this. When they are not sure about their overall direction,
Yeah.
this is where I think that if you ask them about their overall direction, this is where I say, I'm confused. I'm overwhelmed. I'm stressed. It's almost like we're getting them to their problem before we even share their problem. So it's like we want them to say like, I need coaching without asking them, do you need coaching? So that's why I think that this would be a good pillar for you to infuse the mindset piece of it, because that's so true, especially at that beginning stage.
Yeah.
That is everything. So I'm in here, I'm going to put mindset. Is that okay?
Yeah.
Okay. So I'm going to put, this is your mindset category. We want to and when I'm talking with people about things like for marketing and selling, there might be some other things that come up with mindset and time management that you can say, what is your confidence with time management? This goes for everybody. You can be like, okay, what is your like confidence level? And then they're going to tell you their insecurities.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? So it's like almost like where it's like, okay, if you aren't feeling confident with time management, what I want you to do is I want you to think about like, this is where they're going to give you more mindset things with what's going on. But I want to have like a clear pillar for you for mindset. And I think overall direction is a good.
Right. Because that's what I was thinking when I was looking at like creating content, like, and the ideas that randomly come to me that I'm like, oh, I should share this. Like, and I just have like a doc that I put it all in.
Mhm.
But it's not necessarily linked to any of my pillars. I'm like, it's just something that I know from coaching that I think would be really helpful. So
So
it's like, I don't know when to infuse that into my marketing. Does that make sense?
exactly. So this is where, and like a big shift from inspiration to like planned content is we
Mm-hmm.
also want to have room for that. And I
Yeah.
was talking with a friend of mine, Tanner, and he's awesome. You guys should totally follow him. He's like just a fascinating human. And he is like 24 and he has, or 25, and he has a $3.4 million business he started when he was in 5th grade. He's like just a fast, really fun guy. And so I was talking with him and he was like, don't let the structure get in the way of you. He's like, I think that sometimes you get like, you want to create search engine optimization so much so that it feels a little robotic. And he was like, you're not robotic, you're fun. And so this is where the things that are random, you can either keep it like I was talking about Bisan last week. Those are inspirational things that you can create videos of in the moment and then
Mm-hmm.
choose for the rainy day where it fits. Or this is another where and so I'm going to say that that situation would be inspiration to like planned like inspiration film and then plan it later. The
Yeah.
other option is for you to talk about this in the cold category. So Armony, when I was talking with you about my marketing calendar, I'm like, that sounded really southern. I don't know what that sounded like. But like I just talked about like, hey, I don't think you should just have one coach all the time. I think you should have all the support. Nothing to do with teaching. I was like, well, I guess that kind of fits. I was like, you're getting taught by somebody. But I wrote in the classroom, I was like, it doesn't always have to fit in a super rote way. Um, where did I put that? I put that somewhere, Harmony. I think you emailed me about this. I will go back. Oh, I'm sorry, Morgan. I didn't miss that. But I'll share what I shared with Harmony. I was like, those were the posts that I did a couple weeks ago. But there's also going to be other random shit. Like I decided 2 weeks ago that I was like, oh, and I'm also going to do a master class with Taryn. And I was like, well, that has nothing to do with managing my leads, mindset, nothing. And that's fine too. I also talked about I did a podcast the other last week. I was a guest on this podcast. And so I have stuff come in randomly, but overall, we just want to be kind of focusing on building up that SEO, building up the name brand notoriety. But these systems, for every single thing that I teach you, I want them to serve you, and I don't want them to just put you in a box and make you feel like you're
Mm-hmm.
stunted ever. They're only to help you succeed and grow and soar. So,
Yeah.
like you
Yeah,
can.
no, that's a fair one because I'm like,
Mhm.
because you have it planned, I'm like, so now I can't think of anything randomly on the spot for a month. Do you know what I mean? And I'm like, and
No,
even because I've always been up until this point, like it's like it just comes and I do it. Do you know what I mean? Like rather than sort of having it structured. So that's quite
yeah.
difficult to change.
Well, and the other thing that I'll do is like I filmed this in 10:2. So the that was when so an example of just random shit would be like the post about the podcast. Don't have one coach about all the time. Talking about the masterclass. Those are 3 things that were just kind of like random that I used for my cold or just an additional post.
Yeah.
The other thing that you can do is where you have that like I talked with Bisan about last week is like you might have that inspiration where you're like, oh, this is a perfect idea, and I just recorded a reel completely randomly. So I was like, this is totally out of the blue, and you can see because it's not like, try and find it, um but it wasn't something that I was like planning on doing. Yeah, you kind of see this one, that one of me in the dress. It's like that totally wasn't planned. There are no
Mhm.
other things around it. I just needed to remember that's the day I filmed. I'm like, oh, that was such a good thing. I filmed it like right after a coaching session, and this is something I need to say for later. So I'll just put like 10:2 so I remember what date to go back to for the video.
Okay.
Great question.
Okay, cool. Thank you.
Um, the other thing is like you might film something, and you didn't ask about this, but this is just something like I wrote about guaranteeing results. I did made this like yellow and blue one, and I realized like in the reel that I did, that I filmed, I talked a ton about the mastermind, and I was going to try and reuse it later. Just like I was going to try and reuse it this month, and it didn't make any sense. And I was like, well, this is going to be something that I will use later. And this rest one was another one that I like filmed, and I'm like, I do not want to do this until December, pretty much. I like needed to move this one. So this is gonna be like one of the first things that I do that week of December, and I'll just like plug and chug here.
Okay.
Really, really good question.
Okay. Okay, thank you.
Of course. Who else has a question? Start with a win. Preferably. Also, if I ever miss a question of yours in the stream, please tag me in it. And it's not because, like, sometimes the Google Classroom doesn't give me notifications. So I'm really sorry. I have no idea what you posted in here, Morgan, but I hope it has been answered. Oh, trending audios. Great question. So when you are, I can do a reel about this as well, but trending audio, if you look at the bottom corner, do you see that little arrow that says up arrow? So what I do is I click on it and it will show you. Here, I'm gonna make me bigger. Stop sharing my screen for a second. So sorry. When you go to a reel, it's coming. Can you guys see me? Hopefully this will get a little bit clearer in a second. There's a little, there you go. There's a little arrow in the right hand corner that's right there. You click on it and it looks like this, and it shows you the whole audio. What I like to do is I like to save it here, and then you can even like put it in a different file or things like that, usually. So it's like you can save it like that and just have it in your saved things. The other thing you can do is like click on the original. This is the guy, I guess, that was singing the original version. And you can click here and then you can save it to a folder. And so I have audio for random reels. Ha ha ha. Because my social media can see it. My social media manager can see it if you have a saved folder. So that's where you can put other random audio. And then if you guys get to the point, oh yes, ideal client avatar. If you get to the point where you eventually might hire somebody to do your social media for you or something of the sorts, I had like a trending audio here. And what I did for that, I need to do it for the sleep one too, is like you can go here and you can go to saved. And then you can go to audio for random reels. Click here. And you should typically, go to post. Click here. You're supposed to be able to copy it. Or, it's because it wasn't the rent. Here's my saved audio. Copy it here. And then for the rest one, I need to paste it here. So she knows. That's just like, have you ever seen the ones where it's like, here, I'll show you this one. It's like, where like you talk for somebody or something like that. Like, have you ever seen that where like someone is dubbed? I don't know if she's actually going to dub it, but like,
happen for you is still going to happen for you.
Yeah, like sometimes it'll be like if you like mimicked what someone else was saying, that can also be a thing as well for the trending ones. Great question. Does anyone have some mindset stuff that's coming up for them?
Yeah.
Nadia? Bring
Oh,
it.
am I not muted?
Oh, it was like, you're like, yeah.
I thought I was muted. That's so funny. Yeah, sorry. The mindset that issue that I'm coming up against is the minute is that like I know what I need to be doing, I know what I should be doing. Like I need to be getting more consults. I've not got any consults just now. And I know things that I could be doing to doing it, but I'm not really doing it. I'm just only like I have time constraints more than usual right now, which is totally fine. But that's never really my problem because when I do have time, I still don't do the thing, right?
Mhm.
But I'm like, why am I not doing it? It's like I want to do it. I'm in this mastermind. I'm like all for it. But any opportunity I get, I'll be like, oh, couldn't do anything.
Yeah, can you give me an example like of what like I know I'm sure there are a ton like this morning that happened for me, so it's like super relatable. But what happened? Can you give me a specific time or like something you were trying to do?
No, because it's like, and a bigger problem of it is like lately, I've not even been like planning it. So
Mm,
it's just open and vague because I've got like, with my other business, someone's left. So I've had to get more involved in that for the short term until I recruit. So I'm kind of letting that, but I know that's not really, if I really wanted to, like I could figure out time, right? Like I went to the dance class, could have worked then. Like, so I'm like choosing other things.
mhm.
So I'm trying to think of a specific, just anytime, like anytime I come home from something, I might have like an hour before I need to maybe pick up the kids. And I could do like networking, or I could be in Facebook groups, or I could be on, so I could be doing anything. And I don't, I scroll or I'll find something else to do. And I know everybody suffers from this, but I'm getting really annoyed at myself because I'm like, stop it.
Yes. Well, and so what we want to do is we just want to get like a little curious. It's like, okay, so you get an opportunity, you're like, okay, I've got all these things that I could do. What is the thought here? Like what like if you're like hour right before the kids get home, it's like it's like, is it too much to do? Is it like
It's just that it's like, I don't know if I have a conscious thought about it. Like I try to just bury it. I'm like with and like distract myself. But I think it's like along the lines of like, I don't want to do that.
yeah, why does your brain not want to do that? Because it's very important. If we're trying to fight your subconscious, you will
Yeah.
lose a lot of the time.
Yeah. I think just because like like there's lots of thoughts. I don't know. It's uncomfortable. Like it's like I need to go and like so on one hand I'm like, oh, I need to go and like make connections, right? Which on one hand can feel a bit um forced. Like on the other hand, I coached myself, right? On like I actually see when I'm honest about it, I love networking. Like I like going to groups, meeting people. Like I am really a social person who can strike up a conversation with anyone. So
Mm,
I'm like, and I love in-person networking, right? But I've got more different thoughts about it when it's like going in online.
yeah.
It just feels less genuine because it's not just like there's like a an agenda.
Mm. Okay. So this thought, there's an agenda,
Yeah.
makes you feel disingenuine.
Yeah.
So what do you do? And like that disingenuine feeling is so strong, which is so disingenuous. That's a word, right?
I don't know. Disingenuous? I don't know.
It's like, anyways, I will figure out how to spell that in this moment. But what we're thinking, it's like, how awesome is that? Like your brain, and like all of us, we really want to feel genuine. We want to feel kind. We want to feel helpful. So of course, our like if this is coming up for you, it's like thinking that there's an agenda. You're feeling disingenuine. What are you doing? This is where the buffering is happening.
Yeah, I just avoid it all.
Mm.
I'll busy myself, like I'll watch a video or I'll, create. Even now I'm like using content, which I never used to use as a buffer, but now I'm like, oh, I know what I'm doing. I can do that.
Yep.
So it's progress, right?
It's still in progress. It's like my aunt calls it productive
Yeah,
procrastination.
for sure.
And the thing that you're not doing is the actual work, but you're also like there was a thought you said. You were like, oh, well, I know how to do that. But I think there might be a thought that like I don't know. It's like I don't know how to do this in a way that feels genuine online. So it's like
Yeah.
thinking you don't Does that sound like it's like, I don't know how to make this feel better online?
Yeah, maybe, yeah.
Networking feel good online. So, and I want you to come back to this agenda thought. Like when you're thinking
Yeah.
about the agenda, that's what feels disingenuous.
Yeah.
You're fixating on like the fact that like this is for you, right? Like tell me more about that.
Yeah, and I do. I don't always feel like this because sometimes I go into it with the thought of like, I'm just going to go and help people. Like, I'm just going to go into groups and I'm going to help them. And I know I can help them and like just be myself and just see where I can add value without obviously trying to coach them, just be a person. And so sometimes that's totally fine and I can do it. But I'm obviously noticing that there's something else under there that's holding me back. And
Mhm.
it's more like I think it's when it's like thinking of them as leads. Like I've never done that. I've always just been very like meet the people, talk to them rather than sort of like a lead thing. But then I'm like, I really should be doing the lead thing. Do you know what I mean? So there's like a little bit of crossover there.
Right. But if you've got that cognitive dissonance, I'm
Mhm.
so glad you brought this up because guess what we're doing next week? Talking about leads. And so this is going to come up for everybody is like that getting to meet people at that level is a very different kind of way to think about things. And when you think about people as leads versus people, or like your brain is using that semantic against you,
Mhm.
what's happening is you're feeling like there's an agenda. You're not just going in and help people. You're thinking that like, I don't know how to make this feel better. You're creating content to buffer. So you ultimately, if you were to network from this mindset, you would have an agenda and it would feel horrible.
Yeah, for sure.
So
Which is why I don't do it.
so what we want to do is we want to think about like this going in and helping people, this mindset. If the leads versus people thing is not working for you, let's just call it managing people.
Yeah.
Bringing in new people. What are some, and sometimes we want to change the thought, other times we want to change the circumstance. So for you, we could change your thought that like leads are people, but if it has too much of a semantic tie, we just want to
Mhm.
change the circumstance to something that gets you into action sooner.
Yeah.
So it's what like what does when you this thought going in and helping people, what would you like to call it? Like meeting, like my time to meet new people time? Like do you want to call it like the
Yeah. Like I like to think of it as just like helping people in some way. Like in any way. Doesn't even to be and then there's that whole thing of like I'm not necessarily going I don't want to go I'm not going in as like promoting my stuff. I'm just going in and just being there. Like being visible. You know what I mean? And like that way. I prefer that.
and so like the other interesting thing is the thought when you like there's thoughts like I have to like go in and have an agenda, you don't actually help the people. And we all know that as a service-based business, guess what helps you grow your service-based business? Serving and helping people, even
Yeah.
before they pay you. That's always what works. So what we're
Yeah.
gonna do is like we just want to get you to help people in some way anyway. Even like the thought when you are in those Facebook groups and things like that, it's the same kind of committed non-attachment that you have
Yeah.
consult. So
For
like
sure.
you're like on a consult and you're like, oh, I could see them being a really good, like, oh my gosh, I could see how much this could change things for them. Look at this, like, because you work with coaches, look at this coach. Oh my gosh, they would be a perfect fit.
Mhm.
I want to get to know them more. They seem like such a cool person. You're gonna have that. And you're also going to have the like if they don't want it, that's totally fine. But oh my gosh, this could be really helpful. That is
Yeah.
gonna grow the business.
Yeah, it's the unattachment. It's like the thing, like it's like you know it's great, but
Mhm,
if they don't see it, it's fine. Like, do you know what I mean? Like it's like your job isn't to make them see it. Well,
mhm.
it is in a way when you're marketing, you're trying to show them maybe like, but like not be upset if they just don't agree. Like I love some things, and just because other people don't, it doesn't mean they're any less great. It's kind of that thing.
Exactly. And so that's the kind of like being like okay, I am unattached, but I like, this would be so fun for you. So I want you to picture like when you go into like a networking group in person, how does that feel? Like, it's like, what kind of things do you do there?
I love it. I really enjoy it actually. But I never go with the intention of like I'm going to get leads or like I never do that. I'm just going in and talking to people. I like listening and asking them lots of questions. Just naturally, even before I was a coach, like that's just naturally my way.
Mhm.
So yeah, and then when they ask me if by what I do, I'll tell them. And then if they're interested, you'll tell
Then
if they think it's a fit. You know what I mean?
yes. And so I'm so glad you brought this up because that's exactly like when I'm thinking about meeting people in person and things like that. Again, also online, by the way, I have
Mhm.
never, when I have an agenda, which it happens to all of us when we're like, I want you to be a client. Let's do, you want to know how many of those people have signed with me?
None.
Mhm. So I never want you guys going in and having an agenda. We always
Mhm.
want to just be like, hey, I'm just showing up. Here I am. If this is something you're looking for, great. But and we'll talk about like asking people like questions to be like, hey, it's like, tell me more about you. What would be like, why did you get started with that kind of stuff? But it's not from an agenda of like, how can I use what you tell me to work with me? Because
Yeah, that's horrible.
yeah, it just doesn't feel good. It's like to nobody. So it's like, how does it feel when you're just like, hey, I'm just going up, I'm meeting you. You look like an awesome coach. Oh my gosh, look at how cool their business is. I bet they
Mhm.
are at the beginning. They have so much potential. I would love to help them realize that potential.
But here's the thing, right? And this is the bit that I think is a bit muddy with me, right?
Mhm.
It's like, see, when I'm just genuinely meeting people and so on and so forth, right? But now it's because I've got so specific. Because before I was just business and in general, could pack to anybody, right? But now if I'm like, I just feel like, see if anyone just messages me and says like, "How are you? Tell me about you." I'm like, "Get away! I hate it. Like, I refuse to even engage. I don't like that at all." And then I look on their page and it's like VA for coaches or like I don't know, like
Yeah.
blatantly you're prospecting me, you're trying to get me. So I hate it. So I'm like, I'm not doing that. Like,
Yeah. But the thing is, like with coaches, do you know of any coaching networking groups in person near you?
not coaching networking. No, it's all just random business.
Right. And if you were niche down to coaches, where are the coaches?
They're online.
So do you see how this is like a slight
Yeah.
problem?
Yeah, that's my problem. So it was good when I was like
Right.
just going in person, but now I'm like, I need to be on the more online, with networking.
Yeah. And so it's like your brain has this thought that like all these people are like DMing the cold DMs. It's like, would you like 500 followers? It's like blah, 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 all that
Mhm.
stuff. That's not you. It's like, so
No.
you're thinking that people that are coming to you that are coaches, or it's like, first off, there's the cold outreach. There's also people that are following you right now. So there are people that are following you right now that guess what? They might be coaches.
Yeah.
Obviously, like we're all friends, but like, oh, this is a money coach. Oh, we have like coaching. And some people don't, they're coaches, but they don't actually have coaching in their name,
Titles, yeah.
which is so it's like we just want to go and find and be like, hey, thank you so much for following me.
Yeah.
So what if we go again, passive least resistance? You could do cold outreach, but let's just focus on the people that you already have for this week. My intention for you is that you find out more of these coaches that are following you this week and just start the genuine human conversation. Like I talked about in a post that I did, it was like they're coming into your store. They've already
Yeah.
come into your store. I think that this is where like you're going to be someone like that's like what we call like non-consensual, like you it was like trying to start a non-consensual relationship
Yeah.
with the cold people. And I'll talk to you about like a way that you can have a really beautiful consensual relationship with people who you've just met next week. But for this week, why don't we just ask the people who are on your feed and like talk to the people on your feed?
Yeah.
How does that feel like something that could, I would love for that to be like a thing to move your business forward throughout this upcoming week. And
Yeah.
you watch the video for next week, it'll be under managing leads. You're
Mhm.
going to focus on the nurture
Mhm.
I'm just gonna say, like, I'm gonna ask and nurture current audience.
Yeah.
How does that feel?
Yeah, that feels better.
Because they've already also, okay, so better, it was like, instead of disingenuine, how could that feel?
Just helpful.
Yes. And what would you need to think instead of I have an agenda? What can you think instead?
Um, well, I don't know if this all ties in with this model, but like I'm thinking like, well, they followed me for a reason. Like I'm just offering, or I'm just starting the relationship, or I'm like continuing that relationship.
Yes. And guess what? I want you to try it today,
Mhm.
and I want you to try it for the hour that you get. And I
Yeah.
want you to let us know in the stream, keep us
Mhm.
posted about how it goes. But for this hour to network, we're just going to focus on your current network,
Yeah.
and then we'll move to other humans too.
Okay,
Do
cool.
you have an email list as well?
I have a small email list, but yeah.
Yeah, so we could that's another area where you could talk to people in here. Another thing for the people who are following you that are not coaches, but they might work with coaches, be like, hey, thanks for following. Do you have any coaches that are looking for coaching right now? Is that
Mhm.
something? It's like, I would love to collaborate. If I ever find someone who wants a VA, I'll send them your way. If you have any coaches that need me, feel free to send them my way too. So it feels like instead of them just like sitting on there, like waiting for you to need a VA, then it's kind
Yeah.
of like, oh, it's like, let me build a relationship with you,
Build
be
a relationship. Yeah.
collaborative in the future. And who knows, maybe these VAs want to become coaches.
Yeah, for sure. Because I think about all the people I meet in networking that aren't my people. If they know me, they like me. If someone is like, I'm looking for a coach, they will say, "Oh, Nadia's lovely." Like, you're not lovely, but you know what I mean. Like, going, I know Nadia, and they would definitely shout me out. Yeah, no, I feel better about it. I was just burying my head for a while, this like little last week or so, and it's obviously because I was having those thoughts about it that it's like icky and ugh.
Yeah. And it feels, and I never, even if like I teach you the cold outreach thing and you're like still like, we never want to do things that feel, unless we
Mhm.
like have to. But again, like we want to go more path of least resistance. How can we move forward this week? What could
Yeah.
I do to move the needle this week? So
Yes.
I
Exactly.
put Nadia is lovely. I was like, I put that right here. It was like, because you are, and you're awesome.
Thank
I have
you.
like I see that people are like can relate. I feel like this is helpful for everyone, especially prepping you guys for next week. I'm never going to make you do something that is icky. I promise. Well, maybe it's like I'll never make you, but I might offer things that feel icky, but you never have to do them, you know? So beautiful.
Thank you
Mikkel,
so much. Bye.
of course. Mikkel, you mentioned you have a pillars question. Tell me about it.
Yes.
Oh, give me a win first. Give me a quick win.
Oh yeah. Also, can I offer Nadia a thought too that maybe might be helpful?
Yes.
Because one thing that's helped me, like when I'm on a webinar and like so this is a little different, but sorry, babies with me. But I had a webinar and I at the end was doing the pitch and I was seeing people leave and I was like, oh my gosh, people are leaving and like they don't like hearing this and all that. And then I was like, wait, but yeah, there's people leaving, but there's like 12 people here that are staying. And I was thinking, like, if I was in a room with 12 people like listening to me talk about what I'm doing, like that is so cool. And like, so just for me, a visualization of just like picturing, even though it's online, like picturing as if you're in a room, like you're networking, kind of helps like create a little bit more of that genuineness to me that sometimes you lose with online.
So good. I love that.
Thank you. That's amazing. I love that actually because I love going into rooms and networking. I'm like, I'll walk about and I love it. So yeah, it's good to actually think about it that way. Thank you.
Also,
Yeah.
videos and voice memos. Like they're
Yes.
Also.
And that actually is my win. So I've had two people, I've tried the voice messaging with some different people and two of which I actually like really engaged and we went back and forth and they signed up for a consult call and they both signed up for my group. Yeah. So I would, and so it'll be interesting to experiment with that more.
Yes. You just made 4K from having conversations.
Payment plans, but yes.
I was like, I want you to say, I'm pushing you on the payment plan thing. I'm like, this is like insane. It's like just from helping people. Also, it's like amazing. So freaking
Yeah.
fun.
I really think it definitely, like, I'm really excited to try it more. I think it really does help lower the resistance a little bit, because it is like it trust ahead of time. So I feel like it really did help. So that was my win.
Amazing.
Uh,
The pillars.
yeah. So I just felt like, because we did our pillars call last week, and I feel like I just feel like confused.
Okay.
Like I feel confused on what I'm helping people with, and it almost feels like kind of messy a little bit. And so there's like that. And then I was really in my head yesterday, and I had a sales call, and like she literally actually did come on the call, I think, ready to buy, but because I was in my head about like, I don't know what my program does and what it creates, like I showed up so insecure. And so we'll see if she ends up buying. Again, she was like telling me yes, like, and I really think she actually really was ready, but I was totally blocking it. And then I was like, I knew I was in my head, and then I couldn't get out of my head, and like, so
Okay.
it was really fun.
That's so fun. We don't want to do that. So it's like, was it, I remember we were messing around with the word fear. Is it a certain pillar that, like,
I think because we came up with a few of them, and I don't know, I guess part of me almost like I feel like, I guess I still feel fuzzy on, I think part of it was, I think fear is definitely one of the things. Like, I think that's one of my like zones of genius, is like, I understand fear really well and how to work with it. I think when we like, there was like relationship security, but then there was also like another relationship one. And then it just started feeling like they all were overlapping in my brain. I really like the idea of having just like 3, like just for simplicity's sake almost. Because I realized like it could be a good marketing to have different ones, but like, I don't know. I almost feel like my brain gets overwhelmed with it.
Yeah. Oh, and especially like anyone, if you want to combine them, if you want to have 2, I actually told another client we did 2 for her, and I'm like, that's totally fine. So
Okay.
I would say that like, what if we combine relationship security and confidence, and maybe connection?
Yeah. Okay. So here's what I was kind of thinking, because part of me, I'm like thinking about creating a whole new program. So here's what I'm just gonna tell you what I'm thinking. This is kind of like scrapping some of what we talked about. But so definitely fear.
Okay.
And then confidence, or like security in self, like trusting your own like decision making. And then there's like the relationship element, like the being able to connect, be secure with your partner. So like dealing with the fear, being connected to yourself and confident within yourself, and then connecting and expanding into the relationship as kind of like the third thing.
I love this. I love this so much. I think that sounds amazing, because I think that totally works for yours. So I'm just gonna copy and paste it up here. I'm just gonna do like edit 3. And also, y'all, I literally redid my pillars after you guys had started this group. Like, again, I was like, so it's like, these are work in process things, but I think that I totally understand. And I think that like having 3 pillars is perfect. However, I know that your brain, every time that notice a bit of a trend, that if there's ever a feeling of like a smidge of unsafety, or like not knowing what's going on, what I've noticed is that you want to change everything, or not just change everything, but like your brain is like, let's create a whole new program.
Let's fix the offer.
Let's change the whole offer. And I'm like,
it's literally what I do. But then I do feel like there's an element of like, yeah, but the program really could be better. But I'm like, but obviously I've sold people into it the way it is. So like, I don't need to wait to get sales until I fix it. But yes, 100% I do.
And I mean, like for me, Manage used to be in literally the last round, in the questions that I had with their weekly tracker, the form that they were filling out, I had manage all the pieces of your relationship. And it was, or not relationship, LOL. I'm like writing this. Like I managed the pieces of their business. So it was like all about organization. Demetria, I'm sorry. It was like I'm to managing leads because I even taught them in the last round. My manage was not about overall organization. The whole thing is about organization, but it was still leads. And so I was like, oh no, I was like, I kind of messed that up. And even in my marketing and things like that, it used to be
Right.
organize your overall business. And I had to switch that for the last round. So these are never set in stone, but I do feel like they're really awesome and can help so many people. These three are like amazing. How do you feel about that going forward?
Wait, let me see. Sorry, I'm looking at you.
So we've got fear.
Fear. Then we combined confidence and commitment. Yes. And then connection. Yeah. I think that feels better to me because I think it just like seems more clear. Like, okay, yeah, getting through the fear. And then it's like, hey, kind of your relationship with self and decision making, all that kind of in one area. And then relationship to the other person.
And I really like this because it's almost like unintentional model, intentional model, and then external.
Oh, yeah. I didn't even think about it like that.
Right? I'm like that. I'm like, this
That
is
makes
so
me like it
good.
even more, actually.
And I think it's just going to be easy for you to explain because it's like what's going on inside you, and then what are we growing inside you instead of focusing on somebody else.
Yes, exactly. Because I'm like, there's still obviously that piece of improving the relationship, but I definitely like doing that last after they're already like have a lot of awareness within. So
And because like think about it as a coach, you're already preceding them, especially like Nadia and things like in the what we were talking about as well is like you're getting them to focus on the internal versus focusing on the external already, which is something you're going to do as a coach with them, which is cool. So congratulations on updated pillars. How does that feel now? If I were to do you have any consults coming up?
yeah, I have a few tomorrow actually. Yes.
Now, within this, do you feel like fear, confidence, and relationship connection? I noticed another thing about signing them into the group, which is awesome. We do want to sign them into the group. That's fantastic. We want to still sign them.
Okay, I'm glad you're bringing this up. I know where you're going, and I actually wanted to talk about this. Because I need to sell one-on-ones. That's where we're going, right? Okay.
We're going, girl. Tell me about it. What's going on? Why are you selling the group versus one-on-one?
Because they don't have money for one-on-ones. And that's not a T, that's a C.
I know. I'm hearing that in your brain it's a C. And if it feels safer in your head to like again, feel free to again path of least resistance. But the thought like they don't have money.
So I think here's what I think I'm running into because I think actually again the call I blew yesterday, like literally, I think if I came in like one-on-one's the best fit for her and I was believing that and I was really solid in it, honestly, like I think she would have bought that even. But again, I was in my head. But I think the one-on-one, I guess I'm feeling almost an obligation to offer both so that I can help them decide which one's best for them. Like I feel wrong selling the one-on-one if it's like really just because I want a one-on-one client and I want more money or I need more money. Does that make sense?
Yep. And so I don't think that you're sold when we were talking about the belief triad and it's serving them at a really high level, which is interesting because most people they when you switch or make an adjustment from one-on-one to group, I think there's a lot of beliefs about like, oh my God, can I deliver all these people the same results? Can I get them as good of results? What's your belief with your one-on-one clients? Like, do you have thoughts about them not getting results? Are there thoughts about you? It's like we go to the belief triad, there's thoughts about you, there's thoughts about them.
Yeah. I think sorry, my baby's trying to play with an outlet.
I was like, go save the baby. I was like,
people leave the outlet.
Everybody, you
So
guys can go and do the thought work. Like, what are my thoughts about me, them, and the program?
yeah,
And I'll put intentional creation in here.
I liked that triad because I think that it's what I think. I look at that offer piece and then I'm like, let me keep changing the C on the offer piece versus believing in the offer piece. I have I think I have had people in my one-on-one program that have gotten awesome results. Especially as I've extended my one-on-one and I made it longer and I've tweaked some things. I think like I've just finished that and I actually feel like overall I've seen really good progress in all of them. Sorry. My brain goes to like the one, like I got feedback from one client that was like, oh, it was a good step in the right direction or like something like that. And that was like all he said about the program. And I got a lot of positive verbal feedback from him, but then that was like the thing that he wrote in the review. And I was like, he's like, it's not an end all be all, but it's a good step in the right direction. So I think I like focus on clients like that say things like that. Cause I definitely have had people where I see like really good progress, but then I am like, oh, well, this handful of people. And I think sometimes it's an expectation problem, right? Like they might be expecting coming into it, like, I'll do this and I'll never have anxiety ever again. It's like, no, you'll still be human. And so I think there might be an element of where I'm framing it in the beginning to make sure like we're on the same page and like what they're expecting. But I think I look at that person, I take a C like that, and then my brain goes, see, it's not working. Like I didn't give them what they wanted, even though it's like, well, maybe what they were wanting wasn't actually like doable to begin with, you know?
And I think there's a thought that like, I didn't get them what they wanted for one-on-one. So program is a better option because they have lower expectations.
Well, like lower price and I have longer time in the group. So those two things, like they're more likely to get it or they'll be less disappointed if they don't.
Yeah.
So I think I'm like hedging their risk almost.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? And it's like when you're thinking about hedging their risks, right? It's like, I know that your program is badass. So just everything that I'm saying to you, I know is awesome. Also, if anyone needs to roll, feel free to watch this back. And if you have any other questions, put it in the stream. I just realized we're at 12:02. But within this guy saying the end all be all, you had this thought, I didn't get them what they wanted. So yes, then you are going in, but I want to just know how that feels because whatever you're feeling is on that consult call, whatever is happening. What is the emotion that comes up when you're trying to, and the goal is that we want to sell people to a one-on-one. How does it feel when you think that?
Like, I don't know if this is like the feeling that connects to that thought, but like the feeling I had a lot yesterday on my call was like really inadequate.
Yeah.
I think it's like a thought, like I can't help her or something like that. Or like I'm not doing it good enough. And I feel inadequate. And my A line is like, okay, well, let's fix my program.
Yeah. And then so you go to external versus like doing what? As a coach, we all know going internal and like figuring out that thought for yourself.
Yeah.
Oh, interesting. This is just a thought that I'm going to figure this out. So what happens is that thought I can't help her enough undermines to help her enough. Now, this help her and quote enough. Does that land? Because you got in your head thinking about him, you weren't thinking about her. You also weren't thinking about the other thing is with this guy that said not an end all be all, but it was good. It's like what'd you say? A good set, it's not an end all be all, but good. Your brain is also not thinking about him at all. It's like about him having separate C's, separate T's. Like, oh my gosh, I don't want to be seen as a testimonial on a page where there might be women that could judge me. If he already has anxiety, he might be anxious to share all this positive verbal feedback in person. I'm guessing, maybe. I'm guessing it's like about this just being him and his thoughts, nothing to do with your program at all. Did that ever come up?
I thought a moment about it when I had read his review, but I think definitely like on a subconscious level, right? I'm like taking it on as like my thing to own almost. So I definitely think I wasn't totally like I was like, oh yeah, this is about him. But subconsciously it's like, but really it's about me. So I think actually fully like letting it be his thing
And when you're talking about like they all get really good results with the longer program, you're not thinking about the amazing results that
Yes.
she creates.
Yeah.
You're like,
Yeah.
"Oh, I want to do what's safe for you. I want to hedge your expectations. It's like I want you to do the minimum risk thing because I don't want you to feel disappointed."
Yeah.
Which
Or mad at me. I don't want them to be mad at me.
my God, yes, this is me. Y'all, I'm like, I never want anyone to be mad at me. I'm like, whatever I can do. I was like, please don't be mad or upset. And when you're thinking about not being mad at you, what happens is you don't think about like you're so focused on that side of things versus like thinking about how delighted she could be that like you could be one of her special one-on-one clients where she could be like, wow, and like thinking about that. So
Oh, I really like that thought.
like you are on like maybe she's been listening to your podcast or she's been on your email list and she's like, oh my gosh, I could be one of her special one-on-one people. I would be so excited. Which is coming from a thought that like my one-on-one coaching is in so much demand. And they really want what I have to offer. How does that feel?
I really like that, the one of my special one-on-one clients thoughts. Because I definitely do think my program is expensive. And I think that's like a hard thought for me to wiggle, like the whole like, oh, this is like, totally worth 10,000 or 15,000. Like I have a hard time like getting there, I feel like, but like I think when I think about it, like, oh, one of my special one-on-one clients, it's like, hey, there's really limited inventory for like, I don't have like, I do not have a lot of coaching hours. And so like, this is like, whatever, if you think about it, like a high-end product where it's like, they only make 5 a year or whatever. Like, so I think just the thought of special really kind of helps me like almost like frame my like time in that way.
Yeah.
Rather than like, oh, you're charging her too much.
I'm so glad that you brought this up because that's what intentional thought creation does. So intentional thought creation, the purpose of it is to change and get your brain on board with a you not yet believe. So like for me, my one-on-one pricing is shifting to 12K and my group for this next round is shifting to 5K because of lots of reasons. But whenever I am thinking about really increasing my belief around something, what I want to do is I want to be like, okay, what do I understand? I'm like, I understand that I have limited time. I understand that she could get anytime she wants instead of just coming on the group. And I understand that this could be a really good value for her. Like, so you can do this just like, what do I understand? What is clear? Where do I agree already that like this is a special deal? And I actually do this on the daily. So it's like I pick a couple of these and I do this daily. And then how will this add value for them? How will this be good for them? Like how am I already? And then you can even do it at the level of like, okay, I understand that this is good for this. I only have a limited amount of time. So this makes sense for me. I understand that this only makes a limited, they understand for them that they want to have flexibility and they want to get coaching whenever they can. And the business understands that in order to scale, I want to create a cash reserve to support my family while my husband is getting his MBA, and that this is going to be the thing that really helps us all. Now, I say this, and you can still choose to offer them both of the things. I just want you to be really sold on these one-on-one spots. And I would actually like for you to offer these one-on-one spots and announce it so that they are coming to the consult for just one thing. Like right now, I'm only selling one. Anyone that comes to my consult, they know that the group doesn't open until like the end of November. So every email, everything is one-on-one, one-on-one. If you want to do one-on-one at the webinar last night, I pretty sure I talked about one-on-one. Pretty sure. So but you know what I mean? It's like, that's where you can be like, I would love to coach with you one-on-one. And I would love for you to sell yourself on this offer first. Like I want you to do intentional thought creation about how many one-on-one spots do you want right
Let's say 5.
now? Okay. So if you want to sell 5 one-on-one spots, I would like for you to tell the humans. I was like, be like, hey, it's like I have a very limited number of spots. It's like, tell the humans, I would like for you to do a consult for a one-on-one spot. If this is something you're interested in, I'm doing this until the end of October. And I want you to, like, if you can, write a quick email today before you do those consults tomorrow.
About announcing the one-on-one.
Yeah. So that the people who are coming to the consult are expecting that it's for one-on-one. And you can say, I don't know if you signed up for the consult for one of these one-on-one spots or if you were looking for a group, but have that as part of this end of the call. Like you can talk about the plan and being like, hey, it's like, I don't know if you came in wanting one of these special one-on-one spots or if you were looking for the group, but I wanted to make sure that you knew that I do have these 5 one-on-one spots open.
Yeah. And I could lead with that. And then if they are like really like, yeah, that's way out of budget for me or whatever,
Be like,
then
for sure.
I'm really interested in the group, then I could always switch gears to that.
Yeah.
But I definitely lead with the one-on-one in mind.
Yes. And I want you to really like truly use this thought creation. It's going to force a copy, and I'll share this with everybody. Like do this if you like just using talk to type, walking around your little nugget, being like, okay, how is this good for me, them, and my business? Doing that intentional thought creation. How, instead of feeling inadequate, how do you want to feel on these consults tomorrow?
Well, I found generally what tends to be like work best for me is just like not making it about me at all. Like I would love to feel confident in like my value, but I think like what tends to be easiest for me to access is like feeling love for them tends to be like the easiest.
Yes. And what can you think to create love for them as you offer these one-on-one spots?
Oh, what about even just like they are capable or something like that? I don't know if that totally connects to love, but I think then if I'm like believing in like their capacity, then it's like when I'm selling them on the one-on-one spot, I'm not selling them on me or my program. I'm selling them on like
On them.
like in their wholeness and their capacity to do the work.
I love that. Oh, this is awesome. You are killing it. I think this is going to help so many people. If you guys have consults this week and for that eval, you don't even need to with the post consult. If you just want to do what worked, what didn't work, and what you want to do differently. Again, I use this using talk to type. And like me and my friend Michelle, we just text it to each other. So we're just like, okay, if you just want to do that really quick after them, or even if you want to do that reflecting on the other ones beforehand and put it in the stream, I would be more than happy to take a look at it, problem solve with you so that you can get those 5 new one-on-one clients before November.
Would you mind showing me how to do the talk to type real quick again? Because I've done it before in Google Docs and I can't find it.
So if you go to tools, then you go to voice typing.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay, awesome. Thank you. This was really helpful.
Of course. Well, I love you guys so much. If you, yep, I'm going to share the recording of the call and I'm going to share the prompts, all this good stuff with you. Will be coming for you guys. And I love you all so much. This today was such a good call. Keep bringing me your things. Keep sending me your things. I've got you. And I will see you all next week. Okay. Bye, everybody.